From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Next, we need a report on actions taken in closed session. Ms. Rezan.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman, board members. This morning, your board met on items 48 and 49. However, there is no reportable action.
Thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. All items listed with a C or a CA above them are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. We can act on those all in one motion. If there's anyone here that would like to pull any of those items for separate consideration, a member of the board will have to do that, but you can request that, or you can just make a comment at this time. First, let me tell you what's on the consent agenda. It starts on page 2 of the afternoon agenda. On page 2, it is only item 3. Continues on to page 3, item 4. On to page 4, all the items 5 through 10. Page 5, all the items 11 through 15. Page 6, all the items 16 through 20. Page 7, items 21 through 25, and then 27 through 29. Page 8, all the items 30 through 37. And page 9, items 38 through 44. Is there anybody here that would like to make a comment on any of those items or ask that any of those items be removed for separate consideration? Anyone at all? Seeing no one, I'll return it to the board for questions, comments, or a motion on the consent calendar.
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Excuse me, the motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. That takes us back to page 2. This item 1, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board. Is there anyone here that would like to make a public presentation? Just ask that you state your name and proceed, and we have try to observe a 2-minute time limit. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Diana Mireles.
Yep. Can we have you pull down the microphone a bit?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Diana Mireles, and I'm a resident of La Man, and from the Comité Progreso de La Man. And tonight, this afternoon, I want just to pass out some of the projects that we want to you guys take in considerations.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the Woods Edition neighbor. They need sidewalks, curbs and gutter, and there's a really a storm swamp, because we talked with the staff, and they said that it's a lot of problem because they have to fix that one first, but it's already in there. So, and I think it's very important because the kids has to walk to the school, and it's not fair. And there's some pictures here that you guys can see. And also, it's about 2 years ago, we are working with the staff, and the sidewalks for the whole road. So, and I know I would like you guys to put on the budget for this year. So, and I want to leave these ones right here. And also, I want to say thank you for all the work that you guys done on Lamont. I know it's a lot of help, and we really appreciate that. And I hope we can continue to do all this improves to Lamont. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good job, Supervisor Couch.
Our staff has been very busy. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jasmine Del Aguila with Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability. And very much like Ms. Diana, I have some papers for the staff. In the package, you'll find a page with some pictures of Rexland Acres in March it rained and we got a lot of water, and Rexland Acres doesn't have any sidewalks or drainage. There is a project coming in called the Rexland Acres Community Sidewalk Project, which is great, and folks are very excited to get it. However, it's only partial, right? So not all of Rexland Acres is getting sidewalks or drainage. And so in the package, you'll see that there are pictures where kids are having their playgrounds right next to bodies of water. Also, there is a picture of the nearest market where there's a bus stop, and the kids are getting off and they have to be jumping over puddles, walking in the middle of the streets because there's no sidewalks, and that the fact that there's no sidewalks or drainage leads to the flooding, the localized flooding that they're experiencing today, right? And so that's there for you to take a look. There's also a page where it shows the project layout, and I've highlighted in pink the street where the pictures were taken, and that there is no plan to make sidewalks there. So we just asked the board to consider allocating some budget funding to complete the streets, or to make an effort to complete the streets of Rexland Acres, because all the community deserves sidewalks and drainage to live a safe and healthy in a safe and healthy environment, right? And so take a look at that. But we do take to heart that Rexland Acres community is very grateful for the project itself. They're really looking forward. When I have my meetings, sidewalks are top priority, and folks are always coming out for those meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Gustavo Aguirre with Center on Race, Poverty, and Environment. Just adding to what the other colleagues were talking about. Last week we went to Lost Hills with your staff, Chairperson David. Thank you for allowing your staff to go with residents and going and learn the needs that the community have. And thank you for all the other list of projects that you are going to approve with Mr. Pope. I think there are several streets in, I think, most of all the districts, which is good in rural communities. But my request today is, just to ensure that you put some numbers, some money on your budget for next year, to ensure that there are funds to continue, working with those communities that are collaborating and moving to improve their communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Gustavo. Good to see you. Any other public comments, public presentations? Seeing none, move to item 2, which is board member announcements and reports. Seeing none of those. Is there another public presentation? Please come down. I'm sorry, ma'am. Could you come to the microphone?
We're here for the Fremont Valley project, what is it called? SR?
Solar panels.
Solar panels area.
Do you have an agenda? by chance?
Well, we were told that you guys were going to be having a meeting today, and we had submitted a letter, and we were here back in February the 28th.
Are you referring to item 3, ma'am?
I don't have an agenda, so I don't really know which, but they told us that you guys would be hearing. I had submitted a letter, and I wanted to make sure if you guys did read the letter and get a copy of what our concerns are for the solar projects.
Could you give us your name, ma'am?
Patricia Cobos,
Can you spell the last name?
Cobos. This is my husband, Oscar Quintana. And
Oscar Quintana?
Quintana.
Thank you.
And we were here last time. I read my letter to you of our concerns, but then I also submitted a copy. And I spoke with Mr. Rojas, and he said that you were having a hearing today, so we just wanted to make sure that it was Mr. Rojas, is it?
Yeah, he gave you some.
I'm assuming you're talking about item 3, but I don't know for sure until...
Yes, it is, item 3.
Well,
Yeah,
let me explain something.
Okay.
I think I saw you all walk in about 7, 8 minutes after 2, and we had asked for, it's on the consent agenda, and I had asked if there was anyone here that wanted to speak.
Oh, I
We didn't
see.
hear from anyone, so we moved on with that.
Okay.
If the board would like to reopen that up, they're able to do that, but it's up
Okay.
to them.
We'd like to see what's going on
Yeah.
there.
I'm sorry?
I say we'd like to see if you
We're
can
just-
open it. If you open we need to know what's going on with that project and what's going on.
We're concerned with the results of that hearing that you had earlier today before we got here. We're coming from California City,
Understand?
okay? And that's why we're late.
Mr.
However-
Rojas keeps changing the date and tells different dates.
And we've been given different dates when the hearings are going to be, and we just want to make sure that our views or our issues were brought to your attention, and because these are our concerns. We're the people that are going to be living around these panels.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that. We had
Okay.
the hearing at 2 o'clock. It was.
Yeah, I know, I
no one-
understand that.
So let me recognize Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hi, thank you folks for being here. I represent the Cal City area and
Okay.
Cantil. I want to ask the planning department if they could come up to the microphone and where we confirm exactly which project it is that you folks had submitted comments on, and then we can go from there.
Hi.
This is Lorelei Oviatt. She's our planning director.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Chairman Couch, members of the board. This is the Elan Solar Project that was on item 3. Our staff planner, Carlos Rojas, who's here, spoke to them about 4 weeks ago, gave them the date today. Their letters and concerns have all been included in the record, included in the environmental impact report. We've addressed the concerns with setbacks, dust control mitigation, all of the things that we normally put onto solar projects. And we believe that this did go to the Planning Commission. We believe that their issues have been addressed in the mitigation that was in the board presentation that you've received, including the addendum and the action that you took to approve the project. I would certainly be glad to have our staff go out and explain the action today and ask them if they'd like to review the mitigation measures.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Oviatt. And moreover, I noticed the project applicant and the supporters of the project have all left after the project was approved. And so in the interest of fairness, opening this back up without those folks in attendance gives me a little bit of pause as well. Can I ask, we have another item that's coming up, Mr. Chairman, I believe it's item 26
Yes.
on the agenda. If these folks could get with our planning staff and have a conversation, and then we can revisit whether or not we need to open this up. And so Ms. Oviatt and her staff is right there. We're going to hear an issue that's related to road improvements throughout the county, and so I think that'll give you an opportunity to meet with them, and then we can figure out where to go from there.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's a
you.
good idea. Okay, so we'll go to item 26, and we'll revisit this after they've had a chance to confer. Item 26 is a proposed resolution adopting a list of projects for fiscal year 2019-2020 funded by Senate Bill 1. Mr. Pope.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about SB 1. Every year, we are required to bring before you a plan of what we intend to use the money for, and so that is this moment. We're bringing forth what our goal is and what we're going to try and do with the SB 1 projects for 1920. SB 1 is a gas tax. It's on every gallon of gasoline sold, and mainly it's for maintenance of county roads. I mean, the portion we get anyway. It's also for safety projects, railroad grade separations, and match for federal funds. The maintenance projects, we rely heavily on our maintenance crews to tell us what projects are needed. They tell us what roads they're spending a lot of time on. We check this with our accounting system, and we keep an overall rating of the road. So we pick maintenance not just by which road is the worst case, but a balance of what tools we have, what types of applications we can put on it for the different conditions of roads. Safety comes up through grants. We apply for grants and get safety projects. Railroad grade separations, we do one about every 3 or 4 years. And then match for federal funds. These can be either an ATP, a CMAC, a CD, all those things we apply, always constantly applying for funds when opportunity presents itself, and we're able to use SB1 as a match for those. We have here the list of projects, and I'll just turn to the chairman and ask how much detail you want me to go through on these. Do you want me to name the various projects and talk about them a little bit, or just show them and move through?
I think you can move through them, and we can pick them out. If you go through them one by one, it'll
take a while.
Take a while.
Yeah. I do want to highlight the Rexland Acres project there. That is one project that is funded by the state through an SB1 grant of their own. They had extra SB1 money. They gave it to us. We put our SB1 money. We also put community development block grant in it. It's a total now is over $7 million for that neighborhood. So the people that were requesting more out there, let's get this one done first, and then we keep moving ahead after that, apply for more. But you can see that there's various projects throughout the county and various supervisorial districts. Another notable one is the chip seal. It says 44 miles there, but we're actually going to shoot for about 75 miles. That's throughout the whole county. And again, many different supervisorial districts and some projects that have been around for a while that we're finally going to get to Atlas Court. Fingers are crossed, we'll be able to finish up the right-of-way acquisition on that, and that's the separation and grade out of that neighborhood parallel to 99 south of the Olive Drive area there. Notable is that our allocation of SB1 is 16 million, but with that, we are able to leverage a total of 34 million. So that's going to be a very good year for us. We're going to be making some progress this year. Typically, we're somewhere 12 to 15 million. We're going to be trying to get 34 million out this coming year. And as a quick summary of it, reconstruct and overlays 25 miles. That's great. That's something we haven't been able to touch. Safety shoulders, we've been doing those because we were able to get grants. Chip seal, we're going to be up to about 75 miles. Blade seal, we're going to get 250 miles of it, but that's not a permanent fix, but what it does is it preps it for the following year. We can go in and start putting other overlays and things on top of some of these things. You got to get the cracks filled first. And then improve some neighborhood streets, both in Rexland and Boron. So not only that project list, but we hope to increase it by, we'll see what our fund balance is at the end of the year, and if we can get, hopefully it's going to be in maybe 4 or 5 more million of projects on top of that. And we'll probably do that with the JOC contract and just get out and pave some roads also. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Let's open it up for public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment on this item or the presentation? Seeing none, I return to the board. Questions, comments? Who has it? If you have a question, please come forward and step to the microphone and give us your name and proceed. If you have a comment or a question.
Mi nombre es Marta Villa.
My name is Marta Villa.
Les agradezco por el dinero que dieron para Rexland las calles, pero me gustaría que se hicieran la mayoría de las calles, porque hay muchos niños que se tienen que bajar a las carreteras a caminar porque hay mucha tierra y como hay muchos perros y se hacen el baño y tienen que bajarse.
So I'd like to thank the money that has been allocated for Rexland Acres. I do want to point that there are still streets that don't have sidewalks, and the children have to walk on the streets when there's a lot of roaming dogs as well. And so it becomes a safety issue.
Sí, es todo y muchas gracias.
And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming today. Any other comments or questions on this item? Seeing none. Back to the board. Questions for Mr. Pope. Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Pope, we have throughout our county a lot of areas that don't have sidewalks and other infrastructure needs that to a lot of folks, they could say, why does some part of the counties have curbs, gutters, sidewalks, streetscapes, and then why do others not? And you, about 6 months ago, maybe more, I think gave a very informative presentation on what has occurred throughout the history of Kern County's development and why certain areas look like they have a disproportionate amount of infrastructure, which I would say, yes, they do, but I think that there's a good reason for that. And then secondly, and most importantly, how do we go about addressing those infrastructure needs? And thirdly, so this is a three-part question, sorry, how do we fairly allocate our very finite road dollars? This is a good year for us, that you clearly indicated with what we've been able to leverage. But all years aren't like that, and I know your staff is very meticulous about how they go out and assess where the needs are the most critical. So three-part question for you. I think it would be good for the public to hear how you go about addressing all these needs when there's more need than money.
There's always more needs than money, and in my business, the joke is the only thing worse than not having any money is having money, because then you got to decide where it goes. I mean, it's a challenge. We are at a point in time where you can't go outside and throw a rock without hitting a road that needs some improvement. So there's a tremendous need out there. To answer your three-part question, the first part, the reason that you see different standards of development is they occurred over different time periods in history. The building standards that were required in many of these neighborhoods, this is an old community, in many of these neighborhoods there was no curb gutter sidewalk required. As a matter of fact, we have a number of neighborhoods that are dirt roads even still. So the time period of when they were built is critical, because when a new subdivision today is built and it has curb gutter sidewalk and all amenities of lights and everything, the price for doing that is put on the price of the home. So those homes cost more because it costs more to build those communities like that. And so the older neighborhoods, they just weren't there. So how do we go about fixing them? Well, we here in this county, because we have such a need for fixing the roads, we go about it by applying for grants. There are monies out there, ATP grants, CD grants, even some federal funding for ag for when we do the sewers and stuff like that. But it's a long process. This Rexland Acres has probably been in the works for maybe 6 years now. And so we go about asking for grants, and then we got to find the match money to go along with those grants. So that's how we're taking on that which was built at a time when there wasn't enough, or there weren't the standards that required it. And the third part, how do we pick which roads we put our money on? It's always a challenge, but we do a road rating system, and then we balance. We don't just pick the worst roads because we'd never get ahead. We look at what roads we can actually hold together and keep going for a while. We look at what monies we have. We look at how much traffic's on them. It's long, complicated, and we take our best stab at it.
Thank you. That's a great answer. But essentially with those roads, once a road has gone beyond the point where an overlay would help hold it together, when you're looking at a full-blown reconstruction, you're looking at, I've heard as much as 4 times the amount to go in and try and maintain a road that is still salvageable. Is that correct?
That's correct. If it's gone to the point where it needs to be rebuilt, we say 4 to 5 times the cost that if you just put a good overlay on it at the right point in time. So we're looking for those roads where we can still put the cost effectiveness on it and get more roads for the money.
And that's not to say that we ignore the roads that need the reconstruction, but a lot of times you have to make a judgment call, and your staff and your analysis on what would be the best use of the monies that you have available.
It's something we do every day.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Scrivener hit on the points I was going to talk about. I know I was going to comment that in eastern Kern, around the area where I live, outside the city of Ridgecrest, anywhere else in the county, there is no gutters and sidewalks, none. I mean, thousands of people live without gutters and sidewalks, and I appreciate your focus and understanding of that, and look forward to, not that I'm appealing for gutters and sidewalks, but roads, many of those roads are unpaved. So I appreciate your focus and your support in Eastern Kern. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Pope, your presentation today is basically about SB1 and the gas tax.
That's correct.
Is it safe to say that there are other projects that your department will be doing probably in the future that won't involve that source of funds?
Mostly we tied almost all the projects we're doing in with the SB1. That's how we stretched out and got as many projects as we did. We will know at the end of the year when we see our fund balance how much carry forward we have, and that money will be able to do other projects.
Okay. Well, that answers my question, I think. Okay. Supervisor Perez?
Just briefly, Craig, I want to congratulate you on this very exciting list of projects that I know you've been more like fantasizing about for as long as I can remember than actually making a plan. So this is closer to reality than fantasy. Thank you for that. And it's exciting to know we have shovel-ready projects ready to go, and that we have some new funds for them. So that was an interesting battle, and one in which I think has yielded good results for Kern County. So thank you for your leadership and being the expert that you are on these matters and schooling us on our understanding of how these things work. Appreciate your expertise and your focus on these efforts.
Thank you.
Motion on staff's recommendation.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
I think that's all the items today. Did the conference that was occurring out in the rotunda
Ms. Oviatt
conclude?
Is coming to the...
Ms. Oviatt, can you tell us anything about whatever happened out there?
Thank you. Lorelei Oviatt, Director of Planning and Natural Resources. So we are still talking to them. We've given them a staff report. I would note that we've contacted, the applicant has other obligations and cannot come back. In addition, they had a variety of experts and supporters who are all on the road to Los Angeles. So therefore, might be, I defer to counsel, there might be a legal issue by reopening this. None of the comments that they're making are things that are actually, we're into kind of bigger issues about that area that actually transcend this particular solar project. So we will continue to answer their questions. We will continue, as always, to staff this project as it moves into construction. But my recommendation is not to reopen, since it would not support the due process of a general plan amendment, zone change, and a CUP.
Understood. Thank you for that. Ms. Raison, do you have any comment about that you would like to make?
Chairman Couch, I would agree with Ms. Oviatt that after your board voted on the matter, the proponents that were all present, as I understand it, left, and it would be unfair or equally unfair to reopen it now with them not being here and having an opportunity to speak. So it was noticed on the 2 o'clock agenda, and your board took appropriate action at that time.
Thank you. So that brings us to the end of the afternoon agenda. Supervisor Perez, would you like to make another motion to adjourn in honor of the Bakersfield 3.
Chairman, thank you so much for remembering that. My apologies for being late. I have been under the weather for a few weeks, so my deep apologies. But thank you very much for that gracious reminder. I would like to ask this body to close in memory of and in solidarity with the Bakersfield 3, who are doing a lot of good work in this community to help law enforcement, be a partner with law enforcement, but also bring much-needed attention to their particular plight, of which I have profound compassion for. So again, Chairman, thank you for that, and I make that motion.
Without objection, we are adjourned until Tuesday, April 30th at 9 a.m. Thank you.